The story begins long before that cold Christmas night. It begins with a woman named Sarah, a woman who once believed that life would get better if she kept working hard. She lived in a small apartment in the city, a place where people were always busy, always running, always dreaming. Sarah was one of them. She woke up early every day, walked to her job, and returned home tired but hopeful. She was not rich, she was not special, but she had a gentle heart and a simple dream, a peaceful life with someone who cared. Sarah grew up without siblings. Her parents had passed away when she was still young. Their memories were the only things she carried with her, warm, soft, and filled with love. Every Christmas, her parents would decorate a tiny tree. They would sing, laugh, and make simple food. But for Sarah, those moments were perfect. After losing them, Christmas became a day she feared. It reminded her of everything she once had, and everything she could never have again. Still, she tried. She tried to build a life, to make herself strong, to keep moving forward. She found a small job at a local store. It was not fancy work, but she enjoyed talking to customers, helping people find what they needed. She liked smiling at strangers even when she felt sad inside. People often said she had a warm presence, a light that made the cold world feel gentle. For a while, Sarah believed her life was getting better. She even met someone, a man named Daniel. He was kind at first, soft-spoken, and charming. Sarah thought she finally found someone who would stay, someone she could trust. She dreamed of a home with him, maybe a family one day. She dreamed of decorating a Christmas tree again, just like she did with her parents. She dreamed of happiness, but life had other plans. Slowly, Daniel started changing. He became distant. He stopped calling, stopped listening, stopped caring. Sarah tried harder to make things work, but the more she tried, the more he pulled away. She didn't understand why. She didn't know what she did wrong. One evening, without warning, he told her that he wanted space. A few days later, he left her completely. His last message to her was cold and short, as if she meant nothing. It broke her heart in a way she didn't expect. The man she trusted walked away like she was just another stranger, as if heartbreak wasn't enough. Another storm hit her life. The store where she worked suddenly closed due to losses. Everyone lost their job. Sarah tried to stay calm, but losing her income was a heavy blow. She searched for work day and night. She sent emails, visited offices, asked people she knew, but nothing worked. Rent was coming closer, bills were piling up, and fear was slowly taking over her nights. Her landlord, a strict old man, didn't care about her problems. To him, she was just another tenant behind in rent. He warned her many times, and finally, one morning, he told her she had only a few days left to arrange money or leave. And so, Sarah's world began to fall apart, piece by piece. Every night, she sat on her bed, staring at her old phone, hoping Daniel would message her again. Maybe he would ask if she was okay. Maybe he would say he was sorry. Maybe he would return. But no message ever came. Silence was her only companion. Her friends slowly faded away too. Everyone was busy with their own lives, their own families, their own celebrations. Nobody noticed that Sarah was drowning inside. Nobody asked if she had eaten. Nobody asked if she was lonely. As Christmas came closer, the city filled with bright lights and cheerful songs. People smiled, laughed, and held gifts in their hands. But inside Sarah's heart, it was only darkness, the kind of darkness that makes a person feel invisible. She didn't know it then. But this Christmas would become the most unforgettable night of her life. The night when everything changed. She just didn't know how, or when, or who would bring light into her darkness. Again, the days before Christmas were supposed to be bright and warm. But for Sarah, they felt colder than winter itself. Every morning she woke up with the same heavy feeling in her chest, like life was pressing down on her. She tried to convince herself that things would get better. She tried to smile at herself in the mirror. But even her own reflection looked tired of pretending. She spent the last bit of her savings on basic food. A few noodles, some bread, nothing special. Her fridge was almost empty. Her heater was broken. The nights were freezing, and the silence felt louder than her thoughts. She covered herself with 2 old blankets. But her heart still felt cold. One morning, 3 days before Christmas, she received a message from her landlord. It wasn't a friendly message. It said very clearly, "You must leave by tomorrow if you cannot pay." Sarah stared at the screen for a long time. Her hands trembled. Her eyes burned. She had no money, no job, and no one to ask for help. She wanted to cry, but even her tears were tired. She packed her clothes slowly, folding each piece like she was saying goodbye to her old life. Everything she owned fit into one small bag. When she zipped it close, she felt something break inside her. A piece of hope she had been holding on to finally slipped away. The next day, she walked out of her apartment for the last time. She expected to feel anger or sadness, but strangely, she felt empty, like she was walking through life without a soul. The landlord didn't even look at her when she left. To him, she was just a problem, finally gone. The street outside was full of Christmas decorations. Children were laughing, parents were shopping, and music played in every corner. But for Sarah, the world felt far away. She walked slowly, not knowing where to go, not knowing what to do. Her footsteps echoed like a faint reminder that she still existed. She went to a small cafe she used to like. With the little money she had left, she ordered a hot coffee. She wrapped her cold hands around the cup and closed her eyes, trying to feel some comfort. But even the warmth couldn't melt the sadness inside her. While she sat there, she watched other people. Friends hugging. Couples sharing desserts. Parents taking photos of their kids. Everyone had someone. Everyone had a home to return to. Everyone except her. When the coffee finished, she stayed for a while, hoping for a message on her phone. She kept checking the screen again and again. A part of her still believed Daniel might remember her. Maybe he would ask where she was spending Christmas. Maybe he would feel even a little guilt. But the phone stayed silent. Not a single call. Not a single text. Not a single "Are you okay?" Her heart felt heavier with every passing minute. As the evening came, the cafe started filling with more Christmas excitement. Sarah could not sit there any longer. She walked out into the cold air. The sky was turning dark. Snow was starting to fall, and the wind bit into her skin. She wrapped her thin coat tightly around her body and walked without a destination. Hours passed. Her feet ached. Her fingers were numb. She passed streets full of light, yet she felt like she was walking in darkness. Everywhere she looked, she saw happiness she could not touch. Families carrying gifts. Couples holding hands. Friends laughing loudly. She wanted to disappear into the noise, but she only felt more alone. Her legs finally gave up. She sat on a bench near a decorated Christmas tree in the town square. It was a beautiful place, full of colors and music. But sitting there, Sarah felt smaller than she ever had. She held her small bag close, her phone in her hand, and stared at the glowing lights. She whispered to herself, "Maybe life forgot about me." Little did she know, someone small, someone pure, someone unexpected, was about to change her life forever. Sarah sat on the cold bench, staring at the lights that danced around the Christmas tree in the town square. People were everywhere, but somehow she felt more alone than ever. Her body shivered from the winter wind, but the sadness inside her was colder. She pulled her coat tighter, hugged her small bag, and kept looking at her silent phone screen. Every few minutes, she checked it again. No message. Not even a missed call. Just empty notifications. She tried not to cry, but her eyes were already wet. She wiped her tears quickly so no one would notice. She didn't want pity. She didn't want attention. She only wanted a little warmth, a little hope, a little sign that she still mattered. Families kept passing by her. Children ran around the Christmas tree, laughing and throwing snowballs. Couples took photos together. Christmas music played softly from the speakers above. It was a perfect moment for everyone except her. And then, a small pair of footsteps stopped in front of her. At first, Sarah didn't look up. She thought it was another child running around the square. But the footsteps didn't move. They stayed, quiet, still, watching her slowly. Sarah lifted her head. A little girl stood there, wearing a red coat, warm gloves, and a wool hat with a fluffy white ball on top. Her cheeks were pink from the cold, and her big brown eyes were full of curiosity. She was holding a small wrapped gift in her tiny hands. She looked no older than 6. The girl tilted her head and asked softly, "Miss, are you okay?" Sarah blinked, surprised. No one had asked her that in a long time. She forced a small smile. "Yes, I'm okay," she whispered. Though she knew she wasn't, the girl didn't believe her. Children could see things adults chose to ignore. The girl stepped a little closer. "You look sad," she said, her voice innocent and honest. Sarah looked down at her hands, trying to hide her feelings. "I'm just a little tired, sweetheart." Before the girl could say anything else, a man hurried over. He looked like he was in his early 30s, carrying shopping bags filled with gifts. He gently touched the girl's shoulder. "Lily, don't bother the lady." So the girl's name was Lily, but Lily didn't move. Her little eyes were still focused on Sarah. "Daddy, she's alone," Lily said. "Everyone has someone today, but she doesn't." The father sighed softly and gave Sarah an apologetic look. "I'm really sorry. She's very caring. She notices everything." Sarah shook her head. "It's okay. She's sweet." Lily stepped even closer, ignoring the cold. "Miss, are you waiting for someone?" Sarah hesitated. The truth was painful, but she didn't want to lie to a child. "No, not really," she said quietly. Lily looked confused. "Then why are you sitting here alone?" "It's Christmas." Sarah laughed gently, but it was a sad laugh. Sometimes life just puts us in lonely places. Lily didn't fully understand, but she felt something. She felt this woman wasn't just tired, she was hurting. Lily turned to her father and tugged his hand. "Daddy." "Yes, sweetheart." Lily pointed at Sarah with her tiny hand. "Can we help her too?" Her father froze. The noise of the crowd continued. Bells. Laughter music. But for a moment, it felt like the world had stopped around the three of them. He looked at Sarah again. Her eyes were down. Her shoulders were trembling. Her hands were shaking from cold and sadness. She didn't ask for help. She didn't expect kindness. But she needed both more than anything. The father slowly knelt beside his daughter, his face gentle. "Lily, we don't even know her situation." But Lily didn't blink. She didn't look away. "I know," she whispered. "But no one should be alone tonight." Sarah felt her heart tighten. For the first time that night, someone cared. And not just anyone, a child, with a heart full of nimit, innocence, and kindness. She had no idea that this small girl's question would change everything. Lily's question hung in the cold winter air, like a small light in darkness. "Can we help her too?" Such simple words, yet they carried more warmth than any Christmas decoration glowing around them. Sarah lowered her head, embarrassed but touched. She wasn't used to kindness not anymore. The father looked at his daughter, then at Sarah, and he felt something shift inside him. He wasn't a man who ignored people in need, but life kept him busy, and he rarely stopped long enough to notice strangers. But now, he couldn't look away. He placed one hand gently on Lily's shoulder. "Sweetheart, helping someone is good, but we must make sure they want help first." Lily nodded seriously, as if she understood the rules of kindness well. She turned to Sarah again. "Miss, do you want help?" The question hit Sarah harder than the cold wind. No one had asked her what she needed. No one had cared enough to look twice. Her throat felt tight. She opened her mouth, but for a moment no sound came out. Her eyes filled with tears she didn't want to show. "I don't want to trouble anyone," she said softly. The father shook his head. "Kindness is never trouble." He said it with calm confidence, the kind of voice that made people trust him. Sarah looked up slowly. She studied his face. He didn't look pitying. He didn't look annoyed. He looked sincere. He extended his hand slightly, not too close, giving her space. "My name is Michael," he said in a warm tone. "And this is my daughter Lily. We were just doing some Christmas shopping." Lily raised her tiny hand and waved enthusiastically. Hi. For the first time that night, Sarah smiled, small but real. I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. He glanced at her thin coat, her shivering hands, her tired eyes. He could tell she was going through something heavy. Have you eaten today? He asked gently. Sarah hesitated again, then shook her head. Not really, Lily gasped, her face full of innocent shock. Not even cookies? Sarah laughed weakly. No, not even cookies. Michael looked around at the decorated restaurants nearby. Warm lights spilled from their windows, and families sat inside enjoying dinner. Talking, laughing, he looked back at Sarah and said firmly, "Come with us. Have dinner with us tonight." Sarah's eyes widened. Oh no. I can't. I shouldn't. I don't want to intrude. But Lily tugged Sarah's sleeve, her voice soft and honest. You won't intrude. You'll be with us. Sarah felt her heart crack open. She shook her head again, more from disbelief than refusal. It's very kind, but you don't even know me. Michael smiled gently. Sometimes you don't need to know someone to be kind to them. He stood up and offered his hand to her, not forcing, just inviting. Please. It's Christmas. No one should be alone. Sarah stared at his hand for a long moment. She thought of her empty apartment, her silent phone, her long, painful walk through the city, everything she lost, everything she wished she still had. Maybe this was the universe giving her one small break. Slowly, with shaking fingers, she reached forward and placed her hand in his. Michael's grip was warm, steady, safe. Lily clapped happily. Yay, she's coming. Sarah stood up carefully, feeling weak, but lighter somehow. Michael picked up his shopping bags, and Lily held Sarah's hand as if she had known her forever, as they started walking. Sarah whispered, I don't know how to thank you. Michael answered softly, You don't need to. Just let us share this moment with you. Snowflakes fell gently around them. The lights of the town square glowed brighter. And for the first time in a long while, Sarah felt something warm spreading in her chest. Hope she didn't know where this night would lead. She didn't know how long this kindness would last. But as she walked beside Michael and Lily, she realized something important. Sometimes the smallest act of care can feel like a lifeline. And tonight, she had been given one. The walk to the restaurant felt unreal for Sarah. The snowflakes touched her face gently, melting into tiny drops of warmth she had been missing for so long. The bright lights around the street reflected in her tired eyes, making everything look softer, almost magical. Lily walked beside her, swinging Sarah's hand with innocent joy, while Michael carried the shopping bags with a calm, steady pace. When they reached the restaurant, Sarah hesitated at the entrance. Behind the glass doors, she could see families laughing, plates full of food, warm lights glowing. She wasn't sure she belonged in a place like that anymore. Her clothes were old, her coat wasn't warm, and her face still carried signs of sadness. Michael noticed her pause. He gently said, You're with us. Don't worry. Lily nodded excitedly. Come on, Sarah. It's warm inside. Following them, Sarah stepped into the restaurant. A wave of heat wrapped around her like a hug. The smell of roasted chicken, fresh bread, and warm soup filled her senses. She felt her stomach tighten. It had been so long since she had eaten a proper meal. A waiter led them to a cozy corner table near a window. Lily chose the seat beside Sarah, as if she wanted to make sure she didn't disappear. Michael sat across from them, watching with a gentle smile. Order anything you like, he said. Sarah shook her head. Just something simple. Anything is fine, but Michael insisted. Tonight there are no limits. So the waiter smiled kindly and left to bring water. For a moment none of them spoke. Sarah looked down at the table, nervously twisting her fingers. She felt grateful, but also small. She wondered if she should explain her situation or stay quiet. She wondered if they would judge her. She wondered how she ended up here, a stranger sitting with a family she didn't know. Lily suddenly broke the silence. She placed her small gift box on Sarah's lap. Here. This is for you. Sarah froze. For me. Lily nodded proudly. I bought it for someone special. And you are special, because Daddy says kind people are always special. Sarah felt a sting in her chest. Her eyes filled with tears faster than she could stop them. "Thank you, Lily," she whispered. Michael watched them quietly, but he could see the pain Sarah was trying to hide behind her smile. The waiter arrived with warm bread and soup. Sarah wrapped her hands around the bowl, savoring the heat. After a few minutes, Michael leaned forward gently. "Sarah, if you don't mind telling us, are you going through something difficult?" Sarah's spoon paused halfway. Her heart tightened. She didn't want to be a burden, but something inside her whispered that this was a safe moment. Maybe the first safe moment in months. She lowered her spoon and took a slow breath. "Lost my job," she said softly. "Then I lost my home. I don't have anyone left." Lily's smile faded, replaced by deep concern. Michael listened without interrupting. Sarah continued, her voice trembling. "My fiancé has left me when things got hard. I thought he cared. But he didn't." She forced a weak smile. "I kept waiting for someone to ask if I was okay, but no one did." Michael's eyes softened. "You didn't deserve that," he said quietly. Sarah looked down. "I wasn't even planning to eat tonight. I thought I would just sit on that bench a little longer." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Michael placed one hand gently on the table. "I'm glad we found you. Before you spent the whole night." There, Lily reached over and hugged Sarah's arm. "You're not alone now," she whispered. Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks, not from sadness this time, but from a strange, warm feeling she hadn't felt in so long. "Thank you," she said, voice breaking. "You both have no idea how much this means to me." Michael nodded softly. "Sometimes," he said, "a small piece of kindness can save someone more than we realize." Sarah looked at the two of them. One man, one little girl, and for the first time in months, she felt seen, heard, valued. She didn't know what the future held, but tonight, she had something she had forgotten existed. Hope. Served with a warm meal and a warm heart.